Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is March 31st. It's a horrible month. and today's episode is going to cover a new RPL low price. We're going to be talking about on-chain voting and how that's going. We're going to be talking about the latest results from the GMC round and a whole lot more. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
Okay, so another day, another low. It's actually been a while since we had a low, so that was nice, I guess. But these last few days, the prices of all markets basically have been collapsing. Whether that's the stock market, crypto markets as a whole, it's just been really, really bad. And the main reason for that is the uncertainty out of macroeconomics, macro policies out of the US. With Donald Trump's presidency, we're seeing that there's just a lot of uncertainty in how he is going to do things, and markets hate uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, they like to sell, and that's what's happening here. So, we've had a few lows now hit. So, first of all, I should say this is not a low, all-time low, even though the bot calls it that. This is a low since the Atlas highs. So that's the number, and it hit in US dollar terms at $4.42.5. Since then, however, the price has actually come down a little bit more. I just used the ratio checker just a few minutes before starting recording, and the price was $4.38. So it has come down a little bit more. However, we don't have a new low on the ratio yet. All-time low. Let me just show you. The low on the ratio was actually in February, so nearly 2 months ago, and that is 0.0021366678. So we're still around 10% away from that. Just less than 10% away from hitting a low on the ratio. Hopefully we don't hit a low on the ratio, but in terms of dollars, we have hit a low today, and that is horrible. Pretty much everything is down. So RPL is down 5% today. A whole bunch of other tokens are down a lot. The chart for RPL, this is the daily chart that you're seeing on the screen right now, is just pretty much down, down, down. On the weekly chart, I think in the last 7 or 8 weeks, or maybe in the last, I don't know, since the beginning of the year, so the last 12 weeks, we've had 2 green weeks in that time on the weekly chart. So it just shows you that, crypto's just been, RPL's been hit really, really hard. So, it's horrible. It's no fun. And sadly, we all have to endure with the markets. However, if you have a look at my screen right now, you might be able to see that, it's just red all the way down, and a lot of tokens are hitting local lows. Even something like Aave that, did so well after the election has pretty much retraced all the election pump now, and that's gone down to, the prices where it was before that. So, it zoomed up to 300 and I want to say nearly $400. Yeah, pretty much $400. And now it's down at 159. So yeah, it's bad out there. It's really, really bad. Actually, let's just have a look at LDO really quickly to see how that's doing. That's actually up a little bit today, but on the weekly chart as well, that's had a few bad weeks, and that's hitting a new, well, not quite hitting a new local low. That's 81 cents. The local low now is 87 cents, but comparing that to a few months ago, and you can see that it is just, a couple of years ago, you can see that it's down so badly, like really, really badly. So yeah, it's been tough. It's been a really, really tough period, and it just looks like there's no end in sight. And I think everyone's really demoralized. Everyone's really having a tough time, and that's perfectly understandable. I think, it's really, really horrible market out there, and everyone was like, in 2025 we'll start seeing a bull market again. There was this enthusiasm around Trump's presidency with crypto, and how it's going to be integrated, and then we got some of that, but then we got a whole lot of other stuff that just obviously doesn't help crypto at all. So yay. the only like solace there, I guess, is that, if the market, or when the market turns around, it should be the case that crypto, is in a position to bounce quite strongly. I don't know when that's going to happen though. Like, depending on what happens with the tariff stuff on April 2nd, which is in a couple of days' time, I think that, we might get more legs down, or maybe we hold up strong and do well. I honestly have no idea. Like, if we get a bounce or it goes down, like, honestly, no one knows. So tough markets out there, definitely. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more positive. So here yesterday, Thomas voted in the on-chain vote, and Thomas has a vote power of 888.592 votes, and that was enough to get us over the 12,400 or so, I think, quorum amount, and we hit quorum on the on-chain vote. So this is really awesome. So this, of course, is for phase one. Here, Halululo used the output on Rocket Watch to show us what's going on. So phase one will end in 2 more days. So phase one is open for 7 days. This is when people who are delegates or people who have delegated to themselves can go and vote. In phase two, which is the next week, then that's the period for people to override their delegates, people they're delegated to, I should say, and change their votes if they want. But this is really interesting because 100% of the people have voted for, 0 votes against, and 0 votes abstaining. And yeah, this is actually really, really cool to see that the first vote is hopefully going to go through quite smoothly. And this will be, of course, the one for paying the IMC automatically. So awesome stuff. Okay, we have a new update from the GMC, and this is the results for round 22 of the GMC. And here Schifrin says this is for period from February 7th to March 7th. And then, the GMC spent a couple of weeks like analyzing the applications and reaching a decision on what to do. It's actually quite interesting this month. There's some news from the GMC. So the Schifrin DeFi course was released on March 21st. The GMC sponsored exam vouchers for the first 25 individuals who completed the course. Activity and excitement from the individuals outside of the community was notable. Most vouchers are expected to be dispersed. The GMC has retained 25 vouchers for their own disbursement. Contact the GMC if you have any interest in taking one of these vouchers. Then the pitch deck. So the GMC has funded Sleety through the sponsorship we have with him, the subscription we have with him, to make a high quality pitch deck, and that is available now. So this is free to share. If you want to share it with anyone, show it to anyone, you're welcome to do that. I went through the pitch deck on Rocket Fuel last week, so you can go and watch that if you want to have a look at it and see my thoughts on that as well. But it's actually a really nice pitch deck. I think it looks beautiful. It's got really good content on there. You can check that out. Okay, there's a discussion going on about increasing the GMC's share of inflation with the vote. That's RPIP 69. The poll, sentiment poll is live. The drafted RPIP is available. So if you want to give feedback on that, now's the time that you can do that. And then there's protocol funding in Saturn 1 and beyond. This is active discussion with Dr. Doofus that's ongoing, saying why would we want to have protocol funding, and how could we go about increasing treasury funds, and seeks more formal opinions on how we can do this in Saturn 1. His proposal talks about larger marketing incentives, including hiring external marketing agencies, incentives, bribes, integrations, etc., and how to drive our ETH adoption. So we know the GMC roster already. This time there were 3 grant applications and 2 retro applications. The total amount of money requested was $53,450. Total retros requested was $25,450, and incoming funds were about $30,000, and reserve amounts were $355,000. So Trooper, this was approved at 66%, which was $3,666, and this was the SmartNode version 2 exit ARB add-on. Halululo gave Rocket Watch contributions. This was approved at 66% as well, at $16,650, and Pat had a retro for some episodes of the weekly orbit that were submitted, and that was approved at 66% as well. There were some that were declined. This was more episodes of the weekly orbit going forward were declined. sponsor of institutional DeFi season that was declined, and we had Diamond Hand Marketing that was declined as well. So there's detailed feedback here of the applications if you are interested in reading about them, about why they were awarded at that price, and what it adds, and then you can read all about why it was the decision was made the way it was. So, for example, the weekly orbit going forward is not getting funding anymore. And this is the GMC declines funding for the weekly orbit proposal, recognizing that rationale for continuation does not meet current funding priorities. It says weekly orbit has been a consistent effort to celebrate Rocket Pool and inform the community, while its application for the initiative and the dedication behind producing nearly 100 episodes, continuing solely to reach that milestone is not in itself a compelling reason for further funding. Viewership averages around 30 to 40 per episode. The proposed funding level would amount to approximately $5 per view, raising questions about the cost effectiveness. Several committee members noted concerns about budget allocation and emphasized the need to reassess media compensation levels moving forward. And supporting strategic impact, the committee is aligned in valuing community created content, but funding must reflect impact and sustainability. Instead of funding 8 more episodes to reach a symbolic number, members suggested an alternative, such as celebratory episodes or that kind of thing, and could better honor the show's legacy while being mindful of current resources. So you can go and read all of that decision. Then there was information about member participation, and everyone there was a ranked choice vote conducted for the weekly orbit where award at 66% was the prevailing opinion, and there was no amendments declared during this period, and no members chose to reject the final vote. And then the future awards, there's a very important note here to keep in mind for future applications. It says, during this time of treasury distress, the GMC would like to reiterate its strong preference for grants over retroactive awards, especially for development work. Pre-approval is important and appropriate for development features. Grant applications should be scoped in advance to ensure alignment and accountability. So it says to learn more about the decision-making process, join the GMC server and you can ask questions there. So this was actually a very interesting post that Schifrin made, especially this about future awards. We really want you to come to the GMC first and share your ideas about the work that you want to do before you actually start doing the work, because we don't want to feel like we're on the hook for work that we wouldn't have approved of earlier, but we might feel like we're kind of being pushed towards accepting later, even though we might not want it. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, Jasper shared some interesting information today, and this is to do with Ethereum and how it's going forwards and how Rocket Pool might fit in this. So there's this thing called single slot finality, which means that Ethereum, the blockchain, finalizes in a single slot, and there's some research about this coming out, and people kind of sharing the ideas, which is the way that we develop on Ethereum. Anyway, it says that Jasper shared he shared this research, and we're going to have a look at that in a second, and shared some screenshots where Rocket Pool is mentioned. But this is by Barnaby, and Barnaby's the topic is paths to single slot finality revisited. So it says on our previous post of revisited local building, questioning its contribution to network goals such as censorship resistance, scaling of verifiability. Beyond building our staking node bundles many duties and being clever about assigning the right roles to the right nodes, breaking away from too rigid models about what a staker is, seems more and more at hand. And this light a model of solo staker building directly their own block from their own machine with their own stake may be worth revisiting too. This may be the key to obtaining a validator set that works for us towards achieving single slot finality with shorter time slots and a much faster timeline. And then Barnaby says, to be clear, this post argues that home nodes, non-commercial, permissionless, plentiful, remain critical for the Ethereum network, in particular for their independent actionable voice, as well as their role as fossil includers. That's the censorship resistance forced inclusion list, basically. It says we would not have the opportunity to ask about our options today had we not optimized for solo stakers to exist on the network. But this path dependency also means that decisions which will probably possibly correct to do then could be less correct moving forward as the roles, shapes, and economic organization of our nodes evolves. So there's a few mentions of Rocket Pool here. So the sections are about protocol roles and type of nodes and what that might look like, and contribution of home nodes to the network. So this is a section here where the Rocket Pool gets mentioned. It's the next one. Home nodes and solo stakers. Solo stakers and home operators. So as we've seen over the years, Ethereum proof of stake began. Not all home nodes are operated by solo stakers. The division of capital and labor applies to staking. In particular, home nodes, we can distinguish between two categories of operators. So some home nodes are solo stakers who operate their own hardware and provide services to the network on the basis of their own stake. Some home node operators operate their own hardware but receive delegated stake and perform validation services on behalf of the delegators. We call these nodes home operators as a strictly larger subset to solos, and that includes things like Rocket Pool. So he says these home operators are not commercial operators and does not exist a priori signal of their credibility, yet using cryptoeconomic mechanisms such as bonds, home operators can become part of the larger operator set of staking protocols such as Lido or Rocket Pool. Respectively, a node at home can sign up to perform services for Lido using the community staking module, or for Rocket Pool by operating a money pool. Both options require the home staker to deposit some form of its collateral. After that, they are provided with delegated stake from depositors of the LSD protocol. The home operator then receives a share of the rewards they obtain on the delegated stake. And then there's some more information. It says, besides the 5.4% of stake controlled by solo stakers, 1.58% of stake is currently operated by Rocket Pool node operators, and Lido CSM now controls 2% of the stake provision to Lido, approximately 0.54% of the current stake. So it says they plan to increase this, and then talking about OBOL and SSV as well. Jasper actually pulled out some of the relevant screenshots, so we can go and have a look. And then there's another one section here about having home stakers and sufficient number of these so Fossil keeps working. It says we want them to join. More on them joining larger protocols and mechanisms, solo stakers pooling assets using distributed validation, or home operators performing validation services on behalf of delegated stake. And then there's another image here. So hardening of home operator protocols. That's the section that we talked about already. So this is about governance. So about how they're getting stronger basically. So Jasper actually had a really interesting point. He says that the Ethereum Foundation leaning into Rocket Pool and Lido regimes, capped the validator set at 8,000 operators and consolidated that into max effective balance and what that might look like. And then Jasper here had some more thoughts as well. He says, I've been debating with people in the Ethereum Foundation plus ecosystem chat about issuance all morning, and Barnaby drops his paper largely mirroring my own points. It's such a change from a year or two ago. And Barnaby says this post and its context will be discussed in our first protocol research call that's happening on Wednesday at 2 p.m. UTC. And he says we'll have links for joining the call and streaming, and we'll revert here when they are available. So I think that is something that's very interesting to join. And Jasper says, he tagged Mav, and he says someone from the team should be on this call. So I think it should be Langers who should be on that call. I know that the timing is absolutely horrible for Australia. It's going to be really late at the night, but I think it's really worth getting Rocket Pool's voice out there, especially since researchers are, so heavily understanding Rocket Pool's role in all of this. I think that's really tremendous. So yeah, definitely we're going to keep our eyes open for this. But if the Ethereum Foundation is trying to give more weight to Rocket Pool, that's absolutely awesome. Jasper says a hidden unlock of ME max effective balance is that we can cap the validator set at 8,192 validators, and with proper consolidation not lose a single node operator on the network. This is the best path forward towards single slot finality and stake ratio solutions. So yeah, there seems like there might be a path here to get maximum number of home nodes online, home validators online, but also help Ethereum with all these other issues that we've been having. So definitely go and read that post by Barnaby that I linked and I talked about for a quick second. There's a lot more detail in there that you can get out of it, just to let you know what kind of things are being talked about at the Ethereum level right now. Okay, we have a new release from Geth, and this is Juggernaut Shield version 1.15.7, and it says this is a bug fix release, and we're putting it out specifically to address a critical issue that could break archive node databases. So there's some updates here of what bugs are being fixed. So if you run an archive node on Geth, then definitely fix this, update to this. But if you are a regular node operator, then it's not saying whether it's recommended or encouraged or like important update. But yeah, there's the latest version of Geth there if you want to check that out. Okay, some Ethereum news here, and we have had a whole tumultuous time over the last couple of years with Tornado Cash and privacy on the network. So the way Tornado Cash works is, you deposit your crypto to a pool, and then that pool will send you the crypto from that pool that you deposited into another address, and that address will then not be traceable where that ETH came from because it came from a mixing pool. Now that got sanctions against it in an OFAC in the US, and the US Treasury was trying to sanction Tornado Cash. That has mostly been reverted, but the idea still is that mixing as a technology could get better, because when you use mixers, then there's bad actors who also use the mixers, and for ethical reasons you might not want your mixing to happen with unethical mixing, which is perfectly understandable. Like, for example, if I want to mix my ETH just to preserve my privacy, because I want to, like, for example, go shopping and buy some stuff with ETH or stable coins on my wallet, and I don't want anyone to know where, how much I have or where my crypto came from or any of that kind of stuff. Basically, I'd send some ETH through a mixer, and then it would go to my wallet. And then afterwards, I could, transact on that, like, a few dollars at a time or a couple of $100 at a time, whatever. And no one would know, how much crypto I have or what my addresses are. But I wouldn't want to, mix my crypto with, the latest from Lazarus hack or whatever else they might be doing right now, or some of the hack that's happened, because I don't want to enable that mixing to happen. Well, now we have a solution for that, and this has been teased about for a while, but it's live on mainnet now, and this is privacy pools. So 0xbo says, "Good morning, Ethereum. It's our great honor to announce the mainnet launch of privacy pools. ETH users can now achieve on-chain privacy while still dissociating from illicit funds. It's now up to all of us to make privacy normal again." More info in this thread. So there's information here in the thread. So you go to privacypools.com. You can deposit up to 1 ETH. If your funds pass through our wallet screening, they can be withdrawn privately. If we don't approve your funds, you can still withdraw back to your original wallet, making privacy pools a non-custodial system. So there's no way for them to block your crypto, which is kind of cool. It says, "During our initial launch, we were limiting deposits to 1 ETH with a 0.1 ETH minimum. We'll now raise these limits as we battle test our tech. One nice UX feature is that you can do partial withdrawals, and the rest of the ETH is redeposited into privacy pool for future use." This is another nice UX factor, is that you no longer need to save a note per transaction. You can access all your privacy pool accounts with a single privacy seed phrase. Like your seed phrases, you must keep it secure or hackers can exploit it. And then there's a detailed walkthrough of how it works, and you can get all that information. So yeah, this is really cool. The way it works basically is that you have to get kind of vetted, in a sense, for you to use privacy pools. They basically check if your wallet has been used in any kind of hacks or anything like that. And then there's a 7-day limit that you have to you take part in. But otherwise, it's all good. Like, it's really cool that we have this. Here we have Zach.eth saying Tornado is dead, but privacy didn't die with it. 0xbo just dropped privacy pools on mainnet. This is the first actually usable, credibly neutral, opt-in, compliant privacy system on Ethereum. No whitelist, no KYC, no excuses, just code. So yeah, the great thing about this is that that the people that you're mixing with, aren't criminals, and also it gives you the ability to share your, transaction journey with tax authorities or whoever else you want to report those wallets to. Like, just because I don't want Bob in the store to know how much crypto I have, it doesn't mean that I want to also hide that information from the government. Like, I might be willing to disclose that information to the government, so I could then show a trail going from my main wallet or my cold wallet, whatever, to privacy pools, and then out to a new wallet that has that new crypto arrives, and then I could share that with the taxman or whoever else I wanted to. that's a really, really exciting update. Like, I really like this. And I think this is absolutely awesome that we have this technology in Ethereum. It's really funny because, the OFAC sanctions were absolutely a huge blow to Ethereum when it came out. People said DeFi and Ethereum is going to die, all this kind of stuff. And what's actually ended up happening is that Ethereum has actually gotten much harder in terms of privacy and censorship resistance and all these things because of that event, right, with the tornado crash happening and the OFAC sanctions. We are trying to get forced inclusion lists with Fossil update, on mainnet, and that's probably going to come in the update after Pectra, or maybe the one after that even. I'm not exactly sure when, but hopefully soon. And then we're now getting these new mixing pools that you can kind of be sure that the person who you are mixing with isn't a criminal, basically, and trying to wash illicit funds. So that's absolutely awesome. Okay, I'm going to finally finish this episode with news from Christine Kim. Now, I've covered Christine Kim's posts on Rocket Fuel a whole bunch of times, where she mostly writes about, the posts that I've covered have mostly been about all core devs, and sometimes her podcast, Infinite Jungle. Well, Christine is quitting working for Galaxy Digital, the people that she used to work with, and she's going to go work for herself. So the Infinite Jungle podcast is actually going to end. There's 2 more episodes that are going to come out on Tuesday and Wednesday for those of you who listen, so you can go and give it a listen. But she's moving on from that. I guess Galaxy Digital are the ones who own the rights for that podcast, and then she's still going to try to keep the summaries going, but they'll be on her Substack platform. I guess she's going to try to monetize that. That's cool. And then she's talks about her personal reasons for why she's leaving and things like that. So you can go and give that thread a read if you want. But it's cool that she's doing good stuff. So on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all had a lovely weekend, and I hope we have a great week ahead. And hopefully we've seen the bottom of crypto prices, but who knows? Let's see. Bye, everyone.